It is time now for Kara's Cure. So should you let your kids just quit, or how can you help them stick with something that's difficult?
Joining us now is Renee Jain, the founder of Go Zen and best-selling co-author of Superpowered, to talk to us right now about grit. I love grit.
We got to teach it. Renee, thank you so much for being with us. You know, this seems like something that when we look back as kids, maybe we grew up a little bit differently and you learn from experience. Now there's all about growth mindset, but you say really a lot of us parents and educators are doing it wrong.
You know, I was that kid that would go putting, and if I didn't get a hole in one on every one, I would take my golf club and just chuck it. And my parents thought I was never learning this skill. But it turns out that having a growth mindset, or the belief that you can change your brain, you know, improve your intelligence and your abilities, this is a skill that can be learned.
And we need to tweak some of the mindsets that we've had in the past. Is that right?
We do need to tweak some of the mindsets. So, you know, a lot of people are very interested in teaching their kids about a growth mindset. So we started to tell kids that all mistakes are good. It's awesome if you make a mistake. But I wonder, you know, if we were going into a surgery, if we would want our surgeon to be making a mistake.
Very good point.
Probably not.
Yeah, so you want the kids to not just put in more time, but deliberate effort. And so some mistakes are okay, like, oh, that was a stretch. And some mistakes are like, oh, that was just sloppy. And that's not the kind of mistake that helps us grow.
Yeah, you know, and it's not just the mistake. It's what we do after the mistake. I know that we're doing our best as educators and teachers, but I've seen in one of my kids' classes, they have a little jar for if you make a mistake, they put a little coin or something in it and they build the jar up. It's not about just making a mistake. It's about what we do to respond to that mistake, and really teaching our kids that's the point where you don't quit, that you can learn to be frustrated.
Is it, you know, like Kara's kids grow into I don't have kids, that's why I'm using Kara's kids. They'll grow into something and then they really don't enjoy doing it anymore. And then they want to move on to something else. Like, I don't enjoy skiing, but I enjoy dance. Is it okay to quit skiing and move on to dance?
Yeah, you know, this is such a hard thing for parents. Do I push my kid to do it? Do I let them quit? We're all samplers as human beings, right? We all like sampler plates. So it's important to allow our kids to sample different things. But there is this thing where kids find things hard, you know, even adults, and they want to give it up. So what do we do when our kids are coming to us saying we want to quit? Make little rules for your house. Listen, it's totally fine if you want to switch from dance to, you know, basketball, but you have to follow through and finish out the lessons. We're all going to do hard things in this house, and talk about doing hard things. Talk about it yourself as a parent. I did something really hard today, and make a commitment as a family to do hard things.
So what about grades? You know, that's something that we all focus on. And I know you think in some cases we focus on it maybe too much. It's the GPA and Go and these kids are doing so much. But let's say they come home with a bad grade. I mean, how are you supposed to handle that?
You know, grades are something that we all have deep attachment to because we had grades when we were growing up. What we need our kids to remember is a grade is not who you are, it's where you are. And the grades are there to provide us information. So if you're coming home with a bad grade, that's information. So the first thing as a parent is to detach yourself from having those catastrophic thoughts. Oh my goodness, they got a D, they're in third grade. That means they're not getting into college, they're not getting a job, and they're going to be homeless, right? So we need to reel it back in. Everything, they end up being homeless. And we need to remember this is information for us. And they need to remember not to identify their character and who they are with those grades.
And I love this thing. It says that we're giving the kids the same education. Every kid gets the same education, but yet the kids are so unique and different. You know, like sometimes that's got to be, it has to be modified.
In my own house, I feel like my kids are opposite and learn totally differently.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I think if we just relate it to work, imagine if you went into a workplace and everyone was treated exactly the same, was told to do the exact same thing, learn the exact same way. It doesn't work that way. We're all unique. We all have unique strengths. We all learn in different ways. So it's really important that we teach them the fundamentals, math, English, history, all of those things. but they learn in different ways because they're different people and we need to play to their strengths. We don't do that until they get to college almost. We teach in the same way. So there's a lot of room in our education for individualized education if we can get there.
So how do we balance, there is a lot of pressure on kids right now, and some kids, do well. They just seem to buck up and do whatever's asked. Other kids seem to melt down. So how do you balance that? Like, all right, I need you to get up and do what you need to do, but I want you to grow and I don't want you to implode.
Yes, I think we need to look at this as a whole. These kids are being treated like miniature adults for the most part, where we've taken a lot of childhood away from them, where they wake up and they're in the rat race. And there is there's the pandemic, of course, and then there's a pandemic of overwhelm, of just pressure, and of building your resume or your CV from a very young age. So, I hate to use this trite word, but it's important that balance is there, that we look and we see is our kid just getting up every day and trying to build their resume, and are they in that rat race, or do they have downtime? Are they able to be a child? Do they really truly believe it's okay to learn from your mistakes and that that's part of the process? So I think we need to reflect, in what our kids are doing, because the kids that we're seeing are anxious, they're depressed, they're overwhelmed, they're over everything.
Yeah, and we want to talk about this more. Join us on the WFSB streaming app. I'm going to be with Renee Jain from GoZen.com. And I know you've got some great just even sayings like learning has no limits and other things that we can put up around our house or teach our kids so that they can have that elusive balance. Thank you so much. We'll talk about it more coming up on the app.
Thank you.
All right, good
Thanks,
to see
Renee.
you. All right, celebrate Galentine's Day a little early with some booty building. I can't believe I'm saying this.
It's an event.
We're going to be telling you about a great event, a booty event.
And get ready for game day. Chef Plum is teaching us a dish that will score big with your guests. Great day, Connecticut. We'll be right back.